Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. I have a very special guest here today for the show. Can you go ahead and announce to the world who you are and where you're calling from?
Oh, yeah, more than happy to. First of all, Kimberly, thank you so much for having me on your show. Um, my name is Ted Winslow, and I am a musician, music producer, entrepreneur, and I am coming from the state of Colorado, where it is temporarily snowing right now.
Okay. Oh my God. Wow, I want to dig into a lot of questions. This video broadcast could go up to 30 minutes. So let's take it slow and talk about your past leading up into what you do now for your present.
Sure. So I started out mainly in the genre of rock music and was a studio musician as a bass player and had attended the university to pursue music. And when I was working in the studios, I kind of was watching through the other side of the glass and seeing these big mixing consoles and effects units that these engineers and producers were working on the other side. So when I wasn't recording, I started kind of hanging out in there and decided to change my degree to technical engineering and audio engineering. And fortunately, the program was right in the same state at the University of Colorado in Denver. At the time, they had one of the top 3 programs for it. So I got into music that way with learning the production end of it. I minored in voice and was pursuing record companies back in the day with playing bass in a couple of
Can
bands.
I ask you a question to cut you off there? This is your first question. Was it hard to pursue the music companies back in the day versus now?
They've always been difficult, but they're just like difficult in different ways. Then you never really, as now, you never really know what they're looking for. And so you just kind of had to catch the eye of something. You had to kind of be different, unique. They were looking for those who could write their own music, but weren't clones of other musicians.
Okay.
Now I have my own record label, so I after studying the music business, that was kind of something that I thought that the great part of the business and being the entrepreneur on that is that I'm the songwriter, I'm the producer, I'm the recording artist, I'm the arranger. So I should keep all those royalties probably in my own production company and in-house for that. And that was the way that I was looking at it and been taught by some other great musicians and producers at the time that they're like, if you can keep your royalties for yourself, that's kind of the best way to do it.
And when did you actually, what year did you start producing and doing all these wonderful things? Freelance, well, not freelancing it, but being a serial entrepreneur and producer in the music realm.
Wow. Young, a long time ago, about 93, I started doing that.
What
And
was your
then,
first episode, your first music song that you played in front of a large audience?
oh, we used to tour quite a bit locally through some of the states here in Colorado, South Dakota, Kansas, um, Arizona. And so the back in the day, we would write demo tapes and then you would shop those demo tapes around. We looked at subsidiaries of Polygram, Red Light Productions. They had all different subsidiaries of the big major ones. And we were self-promoting pretty much for the most part and walking into radio stations and getting our music played there. So kind of all over a Gothic theater. That was a
What
big
is
place.
your genre?
Well, back then it was rock, believe it or not. So and
Have
it
you made it to okay. I'm so sorry for cutting you off, but have you made it to California, like producing something in a production studio there yet? Or have you been an affiliate with Hollywood parts of major music production companies?
I've basically been doing it all on my own.
I
Um,
give you that. Yes.
I many times I was going to go out to Hollywood or go out to Nashville. I never did. And in fact, I built a commercial recording studio. And so I was doing all the projects there. And then as I started recording other people, my own stuff started selling. It made more sense to be working on my own stuff. And so I have to back up here because I want to switch genres real quick, because as I met my wife in those early areas, she's a healer, and I kind of knew a little bit about healing, and I knew about frequency, which is what I do now as my primary basis with music and production. And so when I'd met her, she was playing some sound healing music, or what she termed as sound healing music. And I was listening to it and I'm like, "Hun, I got to be honest with you. This is terrible. I can't believe people think this is healing. This doesn't sound healing to me." And so she put the challenge to me. She's like, "Well, okay, hon, if you're so smart, let's see what you can do with it." So I came out with my first album with the 6 solfeggio frequencies, and it slowly started to gain momentum. And by the time I came out with angelic sound healing, everything took off for me right then and there. And at this point, I had my commercial recording studio, was going full time in that.
You blended, like for the audience out there, he blended different hypnosis frequencies that hit certain parts of the brain. And I appreciate that because it's a healing thing. And we were talking off the set, like I have to give his wife props. She's a goddess in my eyes, like seriously, she helped him, grow into someone. Not only he was making music before her, but when he met her, she introduced him to the hypnosis and angelic music wave, and that is a very strong wave. So my next question to you is, when did you see a change, like with the people learning and growing from your music?
I'd probably say it was a little around 10 years ago, a little bit more, maybe a little bit more than 10 years, because as I was working, we knew that there was sound healing that was out there. And so people would do gong baths and crystal bowls, and I've got a whole crystal bowl set. I've got one set over here and another one over there. And so I kind of started playing with those, learning more about sound healing. And I'm like, I'm a musician. That's all ringing one note. And I get the frequency, and I'll go a little bit deeper into that. But with each frequency that we have, say popular music is 440 hertz right now. It's called equal temperament. Do you follow me with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's actually the note A above middle C. And so A is going to have its own key signature depending on modality or root notes that you're using with that, major, minor, mixolydian. And so that's where I started going a little bit deeper into the frequencies, because each frequency is going to change our vibration. And you think about it, we all grew up listening to everything for the most part in 440 hertz. Well, there's a frequency out there that's 432, which is known as the universal frequency. Or you've got 444, which is an angelic frequency, also associated with King David and the pyramids. Go ahead.
What about the 369? You forgot about Nikola Tesla.
Yep, exactly. Nikola Tesla with the 369. And there's all sorts of them. And so that's each one that you look at, you can figure out, okay, that's going to be in the key of C. 528. That's the love frequency, healing frequency, repairs your DNA. Scientists are coming out with showing more scientific evidence, so it's helping that repair the DNA. And so it's the miracle frequency. And so as I'm talking like these solfeggio 6 frequencies I'd mentioned a little bit earlier, it's interesting because if you go ut, re, mi is the third one, which is the 528. It's the miracle frequency. So on my album, that's the first album that I came out with. That's where I put that one as the main one. And that was the first song that really started to take off for me.
You know what? I want to try my luck. So I'm going to ask you another question. And during this question, I want to look you up on YouTube real quick and play like a song. Or did you send me information? I can look that up while you answer my next question. But I want to heal people with your frequency and your sound, through just a short snippet of what they can look forward to or look into, possibly buying your music, your healing music. Now you have so many musics, different genres out there that can make you angry, can make you do weird things, but so, and people pay to get it, but this is a healing mechanism, a miracle, angelic, like, and scientists, like he just said, are coming out with it. So, I mean, and name one result I know you've had hundreds, if not millions. Name one that you can remember that you heard their story, and tell me which frequency it was and how their lives changed.
Oh, there's so many.
I
I'm
know.
trying to think what
Take your time.
I had a young man, and I'm close with him on social media because he's just an amazing individual. And he was in his 20s and he was shot and he was paralyzed. And so he's put into a wheelchair. And he's now into his 40s. And according to those who were close to him, he was in a really dark place. And they didn't know where to put him, so they put him into a home to take care of him, and just really depressed. And so somebody had taken in my angelic sound healing album to him, and he started listening to it. And he had reached out to me and told me it just had this profound effects on him. And at one point he started having, I can't remember the term of it, but his joints, legs started kind of cramping up and wouldn't move, atrophy. And he was listening to my music and all of a sudden started getting that movement into it. And so the healthcare workers around that facility started playing a lot of my music for the other patients, or those who were living there at the facility. And it just, because it's calming, it's relaxing, it helps change our vibration up to a higher vibration. And if you're in that dark place, and we've all been in those dark places, how do you get out of that? And that was the premises that led me into going into this next generation and pioneering for frequency sound healing. Because I used to, when I was playing live shows a lot more and coming off the stage, I couldn't relax at night, and I'd be getting home at like 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. And it's like, how do you come down from that in a natural way, in a natural state? And so I had to come up with something. And this is basically my body of work that has worked for me for generations. And so I started putting that out to the public to help them out. I went off on that because I got so excited about talking about the testimony
Have
on
you
that.
dug in this in a deeper, like, we know that science do prove that frequencies work, even the frequencies we can't hear, but have you literally not strapped, but put somebody in a chair and did studies on how their brain. Oh, that is so cool. I like that. I'm like a little kid. Yay. Okay. What did the results find in that? That is amazing.
So as I was doing this, I knew that I could feel the profound effects that it was having on me. It was changing my life. I was manifesting things that I never had. Loving instruments. I wanted to play them all. And of course, you got to have guitars, synthesizers. Okay. So I apologize. Let me come back. So I had to find a way to scientifically show that to people. And as the universe always opens up paths for us and brings us into each other's lives, there was a scientist. He was actually a Russian scientist, and he happened to be over here in the States. He was here in Colorado. He was up at one of the studios up in Boulder, Colorado. There's a big studio that's up there. Got in contact with me and wanted to meet me. And so I'd come up to meet him, and he is developed this biophotonic imaging system. Okay, what is biophotonics? It's basically the convergence of photonics in the life sciences. So it's measuring light in us through the system that he has. And I'm kind of a techie into technology. And so we started playing with these devices, and now I could take somebody into my studio, and I'll give an example here with this if we have time. Um, they came into my studio, just come out with a vocal toning album, sound healing of vocal toning. And this person came in and I would do a before and after. And so I took the took a reading of them to see how they were. And sure enough, they were off balance. You could see their energy fields were not in alignment. And then I'm like, okay, I put some headphones on. I start playing the music and I go, I want you to sing along or hum along with this. Well, I didn't know that this person coming in hates singing, which is ironic. I should have seen on the scientific on the data showed that around her throat chakra that it was way off. So of course she doesn't like speaking or is afraid to speak, or that energy is not in alignment with her body. And she's like, I don't want to sing with this. And I'm like, oh, I've blown the scientific data on this. I don't know what to do. And I'm like, I'm playing the music and she starts kind of going along with it, like, I hate my job. I hate my boss. You're thinking, oh, this is negative. It's not going to be good. So we go through it. I test her immediately afterwards, and it all came together. I'd have to look up that frequency on the data. I think I have that on my website. I do have on my website some videos showing the scientific data that we've used with some of that.
So you had like what is it called again? Photo what?
Biophotonic imaging.
Platonic is the biology of, what does platonic stand for?
Photonic. So it's really a technology of generation that manipulation and the detection of light that's using photons and quantum-like particles of light instead of electrons to transmit the process and store information.
So it's more advanced than a typical MRI or, stuff we see in the hospital. It's more advanced.
It's a different one. This doctor, Dr. Korotkov, has based the principles of the data on this is basically on traditional Chinese medicine, so that it's measuring the meridians. It's also has Ayurveda, which measures the chakras, and then it's got Western, which measures the system of the body and the organs. So it's crazy because another person I was testing, I didn't know that they had gum in their mouth. And as they're chewing it and I'm doing a measurement on them, I'm like, wow, you might want to see a dentist because it looks like that there's something showing up on your jaw over here. And she's like, that's strange. I'm like, are you chewing gum? Sure enough, she was chewing gum. So it can detect that. And the concept basically, I think it starts back to 1977 with the German physicist.
How can you, I just one last question, and then you can finish with what you said. How can you detect something that doesn't quite have a heat source?
It's measuring.
The gum is in the mouth, and that's the point you're making, right?
Right.
The gum is in the mouth and she's chewing it, but there's really no heartbeat or nothing. So I don't know.
That one would be left for the doctor since he's the one that invented that stuff.
That's cool.
But it's like playing with it and seeing how does it work with my music, or like in that case that was outside of the music. I even went to, because everything holds energy, everything has a vibration and a measurement. And so on one of these devices that I had a couple of them, and so I would measure crystals, and you could see different Himalayan sea salt was one. Copper, I did copper bracelets. I think I did a penny. Obsidian was a mineral, and you could see what the vibrations and the frequencies are on that. And I have
two questions. I have two questions. Have you ever searched for crystals because let's be honest, Hitler had crystals, but he used them for bad. We know that. But crystals can heal. And some people take advantage of good things, good powers. And it's like, I wanted to know, have you went around the world? Because you can't go outer space yet. We can't yet. But have you went around the world looking for exotic crystals?
I think that the crystals
in your frequency. Sorry.
I think that the crystals will speak to the individual if they're there to come into it, or to pick them up. And so I'll go to Arizona has a big gem show, Colorado does, and so I'd go to some of these because I just like them and I like the energy, I like the colors, I like the vibration that's with them, and each one is going to be different. So I haven't, some help deflect like electromagnetic stuff, and I'm in a studio with a lot of electricity, so I sometimes use, oh, now I can't remember what the name of it is. I'm drawing a blank on, it'll come to me in the middle here and I'll go, oh yeah, this, not selenite. I'm sorry. It just spaces my mind. So yeah, I've gone
It's a
through
certain ingredient that you use that's a crystal, right? Or that's a
yeah,
frequency. And you said you went into the studio and you said something about how your studio is made up of electricity, just like your crystals are a frequency.
yeah, yeah. And in fact, I've built guitars with crystals in them. Um,
Oh my God, that is cool. Yeah.
and I've got a whole set of crystals. One of these days when things start to slow down for me musically, like I love building guitars and tinkering on them. And so I built a couple of them and I'm got crystals for like lapis lazuli and the bass that I've got, I'm like pointing over here. There's got the a tiger's eye in it, and because even wood has its own frequency, so that the bass guitar, I love the frequency of the ash wood, and then I've got the crystal inside of it. So I'm hopefully in the next couple of years have more time to start getting back and getting into the woodworking and building more guitars with crystals.
It's funny because it's like another question. Would have there been a musician that has found wood in that's exotic wood? Because you got the desert, you got different forests with special wood. People don't understand that everything on this earth has a frequency. So have you tried to do something like tweak it and put something that is exotic and different than which you've done with hypnosis? But I think that we should start, using stuff that's what is it? You're doing it now. You're speaking virtually, and that's the best thing we can do for the people for right now until we think about what's in it for the future. For the people who do music, building on music, people don't understand. It's a beautiful thing, music. And have they found exotic woods?
Yeah, there's some that you could say, well, like I just for Christmas I have like 15 guitars. So my wife is like, "Do you really need another guitar?" I'm like, "But this one is koa, and koa is a wood that comes out of Hawaii, and to the best of my knowledge, it only comes out of Hawaii." And so I got a koa, all natural, not finished, because I put a finish on it. Now it's kind of like a lacquer on it. I like the natural resonance of that wood. The base, I really put oil on it. I didn't really necessarily put a finish. And I do have, clearly I've got finish. I got a Les Paul back there. It's got a finish on it. And that one's mahogany. But yeah, it's crazy as a producer and sound designer. Like I love synthesizers. I wish I could show it to you. I've got like I've been building this massive synthesizer, putting stuff in it. And it's all about the frequency. So the wood is going to hold a certain type of frequency inside the wood. Then you've got the electronics, depending on what type of magnets that you might be using into that for what you want with that frequency. And with my type of music, I like more of a mellow type of sound. I don't like something so sharp, so to speak. Maybe a little percussive, but not as much. And so yeah, there are exotic woods out there that you can. A lot of people use spruce because it's got a warm tone to it. I could like go on and on and on about woods, and I don't think everybody. I get real nerdy about that, and sometimes my friends have to go, Ted, slow down. That's too much information.
Okay, so the $1 million question, as we're easing into the end, where do you see yourself for the future with this music? Is there anything, okay, is there anything that you haven't tapped into that you want to do, like maybe work with another scientist, like somebody like Elon Musk on taking his frequencies to planets or something. I don't know. What would you do for the future?
You know, it's crazy because I'm already living what I want to do for the future. And I love what I'm doing every morning, getting up, having a cup of coffee, stepping in 6:30 into the studio and just seeing what comes out. So every day is completely new with me. I'll have downloads come into me sometimes in the middle of the night. And then I'll jump out of bed and I'll immediately know what I've got to do. It's got to be in this frequency. I got to figure out what the tuning is going to be for this composition. Here's what the BPM, because the BPMs are going to affect us as well, especially when we're healing. Depending on what types of states you want to go into
What is
for
a BPM?
beats per minute, beats per minute. And so I love working with this music because depending if those who are in meditation, yoga healing, I mean, my music's played in hospitals, it's been played in public schools. That you can take people, we talk about hypnosis. And so I love to use the delta frequency for going into a hypnosis. Because there's so much to it with taking you into a deeper place and being able to relax and slowing down that heartbeat and everything. It's like it takes you into a deep dreamless sleep where the body can heal and restore itself. And my wife is a master hypnotherapist. It's funny, we talked about this a little bit earlier, and everybody's like, how you're one person, you're writing all these instrumental parts and coming up with it, and how do you do it? And my wife will put me into hypnosis sometimes, and I'll have albums that will be whole albums that will come out of an hour or four long. Sometimes it's been like 3 hours, and I'll have a whole album come out of that and sit down and be able to write it. So all my albums also have themes all to themselves.
And people don't understand they have verses to them. And you made me laugh when you said you were speaking about a subject, and the question that I have for you is, what is the first sound that we hear when we are born?
I'd say it's a heartbeat.
Yes, you just said that. You just said heartbeat. That's why I laughed, because that was my next question. But how can the people get in touch with you?
Um, Check out my website. That's the best way because you can submit a form there and we can review it and get back. I am on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. My music's distributed worldwide. I'm on Amazon, iTunes, um, Spotify, all the platforms in like a couple hundred countries. And I'll tell you, the other thing is what I want to do for all the listeners in
Yeah.
gratitude and love and gratitude is that if they want to download a free copy of my best-selling album, Angelic Sound Healing, they can go onto my website, which is tedwinslow.com. And from there, go into the store. And inside of the store, you'll collect or click on Angelic Sound Healing Binaural Beats. You'll go to checkout, and upon checking out, um, it'll ask for a coupon code so that you don't have to put in a credit card. Nobody should be putting in any credit cards or anything. And if you put in radio, RADIO, it will zero it out and give you the full album. There's a trial one on there. Go for the full one. It'll say it's like $12 and something. Put the coupon code radio in there, and then you'll be able to download that full album. Now, I don't recommend doing it on phones or iPads. Use it from a computer, and then you can put it into your media player. If it's on a Windows platform, they have a media player. If it's a Mac, it's going to be through your iTunes.
Okay, I wanted to play a frequency. If you had to choose a frequency to for just 10 to 20 seconds play, which frequency on this website would you choose?
Personally, I like 444 and I like 432. I wish I could say I'm going to go with 444.
Okay, hold on for one quick second. Let me see if I can play it. Do you know a YouTube for this track? Hold on. There we go.
Gotta love technology.
I know it's so many ways that I could play this, but let's see. I don't want to mess up the track. So what I'll do is I'll put some commercials up for you or try to make a way for you to make a commercial for me with using that music because I think that that would be a positive thing.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay, cool. Do you have anything you would like to add about your music or anything before we depart?
Go stream it as much as possible. It will change your life profoundly.
I
I,
agree. Thank you so
no,
much. Stay on the line because I have to give you your footage. Thank you so much, y'all, for watching. You all have a wonderful day.